Today we're going to touch on just some of the basics of what is Keylontic science, which is a science on quantum morphogenic field physics. What I'm going to be reading to you is from the Keylontic Dictionary, which is online, starting with just the basics of the structure of our universe. An introduction to the 15-dimensional time matrix. Our planet Earth exists in one of the countless energetic structures called 15-dimensional time matrices. Time matrices are created by God's source, within God's source itself, in order to experience anything that God's source desires. We are created within the image of God's source, and as a result, we are co-creators with God's source. We create with our thoughts and are entirely composed of the energy of God's source. All creation is composed of the conscious energy of God's source and is formed by the processes of God's source, stepping itself down from large to small units of conscious energy. This process of stepping down of Source's conscious energy into manifestation is called the Stairstep creation process. God's source itself steps down into any manifest form by replicating and distributing conscious energy into compartments that are specifically structured according to divine blueprint. The divine blueprint structure of any time matrix contains 5 sets of 3 compartments, or harmonic universes. These intricate and specifically structured compartmentalized energy systems are called time matrices. The process of Source stepping itself down to create a time matrix is initiated by an out-breath and an in-breath of conscious energy. These creational breaths of God's source are created by the polarization of what are called Partiki, or anti-particle units of consciousness, into Partika, or antiparticles, and Particum, or particles. The perpetual motion of fission and fusion, separation and replication from Partiki units into Partika and Particum units is called Partiki phasing and is the basis of what is known as the Divine Trinity. Partiki phasing results in a flashing on and off of units of consciousness which, when grouped together, form flashline sequences. Flashline sequences make up the structures of all creation, all life forms, including what we may see as protons, neutrons, and electrons in our Earth reality field or hologram. The dimensions. In Keylontic science, we learn that a time matrix is a structure composed of 15 dimensions and that each compartment within it contains Partiki phasing, or flashline sequences, that are unique to that compartment. In the outer dimensional levels of the time matrix, for example, in dimensions 10, 11, and 12, flashline sequences have the qualities of higher oscillation and lower vibration. In the innermost dimensions, such as in dimensions 1, 2, and 3, flashline sequences have the quality of lower oscillation and higher vibration. These qualities mean that in dimensions 10, 11, and 12, Partiki phasing is more rapid and matter forms are less dense, and in dimensions 1, 2, and 3, Partiki phasing is slower and matter forms are more dense. There are 5 sets of 3 specific compartments called harmonic universes within each 15-dimensional structure or time matrix. These groups of 3 compartments can be thought of as platforms of perception. Each harmonic universe is also known as a density, and the terms density level and harmonic universe are used simultaneously. Within each of the 5 densities, the specific 3-dimensional structure allows for the perception of a 3-dimensional hologram or reality field. Each expression of God's source or manifest life form has a level of itself in each of the dimensions and densities. In humans, these levels of self or expressions are called Incarnate, stationed in dimension 1, 2, and 3, or density 1. Soul, stationed in dimension 4, 5, and 6, or density 2. Oversoul, stationed in dimension 7, 8, and 9, or density 3. Christos, or Avatar, stationed in dimension 10, 11, and 12, or density 4. Rishi, stationed in dimension 13, 14, and 15, or density 5. Similarly, there are expressions of our Earth at each density level or harmonic universe. In harmonic universe 1, it is called Earth. In harmonic universe 2, it is called Tara. In harmonic universe 3, it is called Gaia. In harmonic universe 4, it is called Arimatena. Each of the levels of self in each density has a characteristic quality of flash line sequences, and this results in a matter form that is unique to each density. For example, in density 1, matter forms are primarily carbon-based, and those in density 2 are carbon and silica-based. Those in density 4 are primarily liquid light. In density 5, units of consciousness are not manifest into matter or biological forms, and for this reason are called pre-matter. Density 5 is also known as the primal light field, and contains collective groups of consciousness of source that form and biological forms within densities 1 to 4. You have the ability to become free and powerful, loving and wise. Rediscover this promise. Reclaim your power as co-creators within the universal scheme and use it now, while so much hangs in the balance, awaiting the outcome of your individual and collective choices. Voyagers 2. What is Ascension? Through the teachings of Keylontic science, we learn the mechanics of creation, and we learn that Earth and its life forms exist in one of the many systems known as a 15-dimensional time matrix. Time matrices are holographic systems that Source God has created within Source itself in order to experience anything it desires. Therefore, all things and all life expressions take place within the energy of Source. Nothing can ever be separated from Source, because everything is within Source and everything is created of the energy of Source. Source is consciousness, and Source experiences individuation and the illusion of time and space within a time matrix through a process of stepping down this conscious energy into smaller and smaller pieces. In this manner, Source can experience itself as a manifest form and experience multiple manifest realities at the same time and within the same space. In many time matrices, including ours, Source has lost this consciousness of itself, as Source, during this process of stepping down into the manifest reality of individuation, this has created an illusion of separation from Source in many individuations of Source, including humans. We are all individual expressions of Source, and we, as individuated expressions of Source, all have parts of our conscious energy within each of the 15-dimensional frequency levels of this time matrix. This is the result of the process of Source stepping down its energy in the Stairstep creation process. In this process, Source maintains itself as the perpetual and infinity self-sustaining energy of Source that can never be depleted. Ascension is the process of merging the many parts of our conscious energy that are in the different levels of the 15-dimensional time matrix. It is the process of bringing all of these parts that have been stepped down back into conscious connection with each other so that we can experience the expansion of at-one-ment with Source. In Ascension, we transmute the physical body form by integrating more and more of the multiple levels of conscious energy of ourselves into our biological energetic template. In this way, we are effectively expanding ourselves and merging with the infinite conscious energy of Source that initiated our individuation in the Stairstep creation process. Integration of the higher identities progressively changes the nature of the biological form, so biological and spiritual evolution are one. Originally, identity integration took place through one immortal lifetime. Due to distortions that span 11.5 dimensions of frequency, the process now takes place through successive reincarnations. Reincarnations was not the natural evolutionary process of the human lineage, but it has been operational for over 5 million years. The distortions have occurred in what is called the energetic manifestation template, or Cathara grid. Distortions within our manifestation template have thus resulted in an inability to undergo the natural process of biological ascension. Through Keylontic science, we can reclaim our immortal bodies and re-enter our natural state of evolution. The human body was designed to embody 12 dimensions of consciousness in one incarnation. We can relearn and remember our true original source-intended divine structure. By working with the Keylontic science techniques, founded upon sacred mechanics, we can also remember how our personal energy systems, our inner template, operates, and as they were originally intended to, as true divine expressions of Source, and also how we can begin to heal these distortions. Each level of our consciousness that exists on levels of the 15-dimensional time matrix is part of us. These parts of us have names such as soul, oversoul, avatar, and rishi, and at each of these levels there is an increasing body of knowledge and understanding of the mechanics of our own creation from Source and of our own personal relationship with Source. As we begin the process of integration of these parts of ourselves in a process called soul integration, we become more aware of these parts of ourselves and can integrate the knowledge and understanding inherent in them. Through understanding the foundation structures upon which the body and consciousness are built, we can learn to consciously direct the path of accelerating our personal, biological, and spiritual evolution, rejoining the races of the higher evolution. The races on this planet and planet Earth itself are in the midst of what is called a stellar activation cycle. These cycles occur every 26,556 years. Stellar activation cycles are important periods of time for the Earth and the Earth races because it is during these times that the process of biological ascension is accelerated. It is when the outer levels of the 15-dimensional time matrix will be anchoring here into the planetary grids, Earth's energetic template. Once these frequencies are anchored into the Earth, they can then be received by humans and all other life forms on the planet. Humans can greatly assist in anchoring these frequencies into the planet, ourselves, and other life forms by preparing our physical body templates in specific ways and techniques using Keylontic science. In utilizing these technologies and assisting in the momentous activities during the stellar activation cycle, humans will often face many difficult personal challenges because of the distortions in our own personal energetic templates. In assisting the anchoring of these frequencies, however, we will be healing our own template distortions. In addition to those on the planet and other life forms, we will also be assisting all biological life forms and the entire elemental kingdom to undergo the process of ascension. You have the ability to become free and powerful, loving and wise. Rediscover this promise. Reclaim your power as co-creators within the universal scheme and use it now, while so much hangs in the balance. awaiting the outcome of your individual and collective choices. Voyagers 2.